After a long silence, Raila Odinga, the Azimio leader, has spoken in response to Ruto's Mambo Matatu. So Raila Odinga has simply stated that if Ruto continues to be very hard and very difficult to talk to, he will return to mass action. He will order Kenyans to continue with street protests against the government of the day. So when we look at the bipartisan talks, we can directly point out that the talks are dragging along. Nothing seems to be coming out of the talks, and very soon it seems that we are going back to where we started. We are going back to the streets. Raila Odinga is very particular, and is also saying that it looks like people like Francis Atwoli, people who used to stand firm with the rights of the workers, people who defended workers tooth and nail in many dispensations and many administrations, seem to be soft. Maybe they are, when a dog is silent, it's definitely there is meat in its mouth, or it is dealing with a fat bone. So basically this is what is happening to Atwoli. If we look at Atwoli the man in the previous regime and Atwoli the man in this regime, we can notice directly some differences. We find that the Atwoli of today does not talk much about the workers, does not defend workers when they are undergoing brutal taxation. People's paychecks have been converted into milking cows for government. The government is milking workers mercilessly. Public servants are really suffering in this country. At the same time, we are not only talking about suffering at the taxpayers, we are also talking about the suffering that comes from the high cost of living. This high cost of living being mostly created artificially by people who maladjust systems and cause unfair increase in prices of commodities only for them to have a pecuniary or money benefit. This is very, very unfortunate in a country that is trying to talk about nearly 70 years of independence. This is something that is not really acceptable in the country. So basically there are some things which will happen. We have seen some people or some categories of workers demonstrating against the high cost of living and the lower pay. So the cry is there, the sentiment is there, and very soon Raila Odinga will use his position to call people to the streets to conduct mass action. Given that we have people who like Japhet Kome, the people in the police service who are rather inefficient, people who can really talk anything, do anything, whether it's legal or not, as long as they have their way. It's going to be a very tumultuous battle, because at the same time we have to realize that the police force, if the police force is corrupt, it is very, very difficult for really people in the streets to really have their voices heard. Who will hear their voices when the people who are supposed to hear their voices are calling them terrorists and killing them mercilessly at the spot. This is really very, very sad. So it looks like these bipartisan talks have been nothing but let me say a waste of time. Maybe giving time to the political captains or Raila Odinga and William Ruto to readjust their cards and implement their cards going into the future. So this was just a truce, and very soon we are going to have protests, because when you look at William Ruto talking about Mambo Matatu, we are expecting William Ruto to be delivering his promise right now, but he is issuing threats, and the opposition is also issuing counter threats. So what we expect is, of course, the Raila Mandamanos will continue, but this time round they are going to take a more brutal flavor. People are bitter. For example, people who have been killed by the police mercilessly, people who have lost relatives because of police brutality. This is anger already running around. And also people are angry because most of them are struggling to really take care of their families. So this kind of mass action is going to be very, very brutal compared to other ones because of the factors involved in it. So this is really the position where we are going back as the country, the position of mass protests. So to prepare yourself for this, you just need to buy foodstuffs and all these commodities of life right now in huge quantities because of the political uncertainty that mass protests will bring. Because right now we have really understood that the table of talks is not working, and very soon the people will be back to the streets and the battles of politics will continue. Thank you for watching this video. Like, share and subscribe.